Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're setting sail on a journey back in time over 1,000 years ago to the icy fjords and rugged coastlines of Scandinavia. This is the homeland of some of history's most legendary figures, the Vikings. Now, when you hear the word Viking, what comes to mind? Fearsome warriors with horned helmets, right? Well, let's bust that myth right away. They didn't actually have horns on their helmets. But what they did have was something far more impressive, something that allowed them to dominate the seas and change the course of history: the longship. Imagine a vessel, sleek and long, crafted from oak and pine. It sits low in the water, a single, brightly colored square sail billowing in the wind. But the most striking feature is at the prow, a fearsome, intricately carved dragon's head, designed to intimidate enemies and protect the crew from sea monsters. These weren't just boats. They were masterpieces of naval engineering. Their shallow draft meant they could navigate not only the treacherous open ocean, but also sail deep inland up shallow rivers, appearing as if from nowhere to raid a monastery or establish a trading post. This incredible technology unlocked the world for the Norse people. They were more than just raiders. They were explorers, traders, and settlers, driven by a thirst for adventure, new lands, and wealth. Their longships became the vehicles of a new age. From the late 8th century, the Viking Age began, and for the next 300 years, the dragon-headed prows of their ships would be seen from the coasts of England and France to the bustling markets of Constantinople, which they called Miklagard, the Great City. Think about the sheer courage it took. These sailors navigated without modern compasses, using the sun, stars, and the patterns of migrating birds and whales. They would follow coastlines when they could, but they weren't afraid to venture into the vast, unknown expanse of the North Atlantic. They braved storms, icebergs, and the constant uncertainty of what lay over the horizon. Every voyage was a gamble, a test of skill, endurance, and faith in their gods, like Odin and Thor, whose sagas and stories they carried with them across the waves. Their impact was monumental. In England, they established a vast territory known as the Danelaw. In France, they were granted a region that would eventually become Normandy, the land of the Northmen. They sailed east down the great rivers of modern-day Russia and Ukraine, establishing trade routes and even founding the Kievan Rus' state, a predecessor to modern Russia. They weren't just taking, they were building, trading, and integrating. They exchanged furs, amber, and walrus ivory for silver, silks, and spices from the east. Cities like Dublin in Ireland and York in England owe their origins to Viking settlements. But their voyages west are perhaps the most astonishing. Long before Christopher Columbus was even born, Viking explorers were pushing the boundaries of the known world. First, they settled Iceland, a rugged land of fire and ice. From there, the legendary Eric the Red, exiled for manslaughter, sailed further west and established a colony on an even more formidable island he cleverly named Greenland to attract more settlers. It was a brilliant marketing move, even if the land was mostly ice. And the story doesn't end there. It was Eric's own son, Leif Erikson, who would cement his place in the annals of exploration. Around the year 1000, guided by tales of a land spotted by another sailor blown off course, Leif gathered a crew and set sail west from Greenland. After days on the open ocean, they made landfall. They found a world of lush forests, wild grapes, and salmon-filled rivers. Leif called this new paradise Vinland, the land of wine. For years, this story was considered just a myth, a tall tale from the Viking sagas. But then, in the 1960s, archaeologists made a stunning discovery at a place called L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada. They unearthed the remains of a Norse settlement, complete with longhouses and a forge, dating back to the exact time of Leif Erikson. The sagas were true. The Vikings had reached North America nearly 500 years before Columbus. They were the first Europeans to set foot on the continent. The Viking settlement in Vinland didn't last long. Conflicts with the indigenous people, whom they called Skraelings, and the sheer distance from their homelands made it impossible to sustain. But the fact that they made it there at all is a testament to their incredible seamanship and unyielding spirit of discovery. The Viking Age eventually drew to a close as Scandinavia adopted Christianity and formed into more centralized kingdoms. But their legacy is etched into the very DNA and landscape of Europe and beyond. So, the Vikings were not just the one-dimensional raiders of popular culture. They were a complex and dynamic people. Fierce warriors, yes, but also brilliant shipbuilders, daring explorers, shrewd traders, and pioneering settlers. Their longships were not just tools of war, but vessels of change, carrying people, ideas, and culture across vast distances. They remind us that history is a grand adventure, driven by the human desire to see what lies beyond the next wave, to chart the unknown, and to have the courage to sail towards a new dawn. Thanks so much for joining me on this epic voyage into the past. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more historical adventures, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments which historical topic you'd like to explore next. Until then, stay curious.